Hello everyone, welcome back again to my channel. So guys, in today's video I'll be making this beautiful pencil short skirt. So guys, let's get started. This is the fabric I'll be using. I have just 1 yard of this fabric. Okay, so my fabric is folded into two. I'll be drafting out the front pattern first. So at the down part, I'll just go upward by 1 inches for the hemming allowance at the down. So I won't be using lining for this skirt. So I'll just use my ruler to connect the dots together, making a straight line. So the full length of my skirt is 21 inches. Okay, so I'm going to place 21 inches right there at this line. So take the tape upward like this. So from this line right here upward is 21 inches. So from that 21 inches I'm going to minus 1.2 inches for the waistband. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'll place 21 inches from that starting line, then minus 1.2 inches for the waistband. After doing that, I'll just use my ruler to connect the lines together, just as you see me do. After doing that, I'll go ahead and take my waist measurement. So from this midpoint, I'll take my waist measurement. So my waist measurement is 8.5. I'll mark it right there and add 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. So guys, please make sure you add 2 inches for sewing allowance because of that intake for the waist. Okay, so from my waist down to my hip line, I'll mark it there. So my waist to my hip is 8 inches for the difference. I'll mark it right there and rule a straight line to connect them together. I just went ahead and label my lines, my hip and my waist. So I'll take my hip measurement and then add 1.5 inches as well for my sewing allowance. To take my full length measurement or my knee circumference, I'm going to minus 2 inches away from my hip to take my knee circumference. So my hip was 11.5 inches, so I minus 2 inches away from my hip circumference, giving me 9.5. So I marked that 9.5 and I added 1.5 inches for seam allowance or for sewing allowance. Now I'll go ahead now and connect from my hip down to my knee circumference. So guys, you can decide to minus 2 inches away from your hip or 1.5 inches or 1 inches depending on how pencil you want your skirt to be. Okay, so from my waistline I'll just use my hand to connect to meet my hip, just as you see me do. You can also use your ruler to connect this one as well. So I just use my hand. So after doing that, the next I'm going to do now, from this waistline I'm going to come down by 0.7 inches for the waist curve. Okay, actually the waist is not really straight, it's a little bit curved, so that's why I came down by 0.7 inches, then connect and meet the waistline, just as you see me do. After doing that, I'll go up by 0.5 inches for joining allowance with the waistband. Okay, now I'll go ahead and cut out my fabric. So guys, this is all for the drafting of the front. Now this is the back pattern. Okay, um so guys, this is the zip allowance for the back. So I use 1 inches for the zip allowance. Okay, and then for the waistline I just drew it straight. There is no curve at the back waistline, so every other thing is the same. 1 inches for the hemming allowance for the down, and also went ahead and take my waist measurements and added 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. Also do the same thing to the hip. I add my hip allowance 1.5 inches after taking my hip measurement. Now I'm going to take my dart, okay, that which is 4 inches. So from that 4 inches, I'm coming down by 4 inches as well. So I'll just use my ruler to make a straight line, just as you see me do, to meet the 4 inches. Now I'm going to come out by half an inch on both sides, then connect it to meet the straight line, just as you see me do. So I'm going to repeat the same thing at the other side of the back. And for the front, I'm going to do the same thing as well. So I'm just trying to notch the midpoint of the dart so that when I pick it up to sew at the machine, I will know exactly the the center. Okay, so after doing that, this is all for the drafting. Now this is the back and this is the front. So I'll go back to my sewing machine now and sew my dart just as you see me do. I'll do the same thing to the back and the front. So after doing that, I'll be right back. So guys, I'll sew my dart at the waistline and this is what it looks like. So this is the front and this is the back. Okay, I've sewn the back dart as well. So now I'm going to place the back and the back together, right side facing each other, just as you see me do, and the hip sides of the back and the front will be aligning together. Then the zipper side will be at the center, which is the middle. So I'm going to place the other side like this, as you see me do. All the sides will be aligning together. I'll go over to the sewing machine and shaping the sides using my body measurement. So guys, the next thing I'll do now is to go ahead and measure round my waistline, starting from the zipper allowance. I'm going to measure it round so that I'll cut out my waistband. So after measuring it round, I have 35 inches. So I'll be cutting out 36 inches for my waistband, just to be on the safer side. So guys, this is my waistband. I've cut it at 36 inches. So this fabric is folded into two. So on fold I have 2 inches. So when I open it up like this, I have 4 inches. Okay, so now I also went ahead and iron it equal, just to so that I'll get the midpoint of this fabric. So I'll be adding collar stitch to this waistband just to make it more firm. So I'm going to open it up and place my collar stitch at the middle of this fabric. I've already ironed it out, so to get the middle point is very easy. And this collar stay, one side adds gum, so I'll place it at the middle of this fabric. Okay, so the middle has already been indicated, and I'll iron it down. So just so you know, one side of this fabric has collar stay. Okay, so after doing that, I'll just fold it together like this and press it down again, just to be sure everything is well gum. So now I'm going to take my band. I'll take the side that has the collar stay, so I'm going to face it to the skirt, right side facing each other. So I'm going to sew from one side of the zipper allowance to the other side of the zipper allowance, right side facing each other. So I'm sewing the side that has collar stay to the skirt. So after doing that, I've sewn it, and this is what it looks like. So after stitching it down, this is what it looks like. I'll just flip it over to the wrong side, and then use the remaining fabric at the waistband to cover it up and stitch it down. I'm going to fold it just as you see me do, just like this. Fold it inside like this, just to cover the waistband, and then stitch it down to the ending of the fabric. So I've done that. This is what it looks like at the front, and this is what it looks like at the wrong side of my skirt. Now I'll go over to my sewing machine and fix my zip. So I'll fix my zip. Okay, so from my waistband to my the ending of my zip is 10 inches. So from that 10 inches where my zipper stopped, I sew it down to about 7 inches or so, about 7 inches, and I stopped there. So from that 7 inches, I left some opening for my slit. Okay, so I have 3 inches for my slit opening. I'm done joining the skirts together. So this is what it looks like. Now the next thing I'm going to do now for the flap at the front of the skirt, so I'm going to measure 5 inches width for the flap and 4 inches for the length. So the fabric is folded into two. When you open it up, it's 8 inches. So I'll just go over to my sewing machine and sew the sides together, just as you see me do. So I have two pieces of this. Now I've sewn and turned the flap to the right side, and also went ahead and iron. Now the next thing I'm going to do now is to indicate my midpoint of my skirt, of which I have drawn it out. Now from my waistband, I'll just come down by 3.5 inches, just as you see me do. I'm going to mark that 3.5 inches straight so that I'll place my flap. So after marking it like this, from the midpoint, uh so I'm going to place the flap like this, upward like this, then pin it down. So I will just raise up my skirt like this and use my pin to pin down my flap to my skirt, just as you see me do. So after pinning, I'll go over to my sewing machine and stitch it down with half an inch. So after doing that, this is the finished look of my skirt. See you next time.